I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It is July, and this is not the Batman movie I want to be talking about right now, but I am a giver. You guys wanted this, so let's do this. Batman Forever! And little did they know by forever, they really meant one more movie and then the franchise is dead until further notice. Alright, so this is the first Batman movie where Tim Burton was like, I'm done with this, so they handed it to Joel Schumacher. And Joel Schumacher can do really good movies, you know, Lost Boys, A Time to Kill, even Phone Booth. I enjoyed that movie. The dude can do good stuff, and in Batman Forever, did he? It's a very subjective thing, really. It's all about what you like. So we have Val Kilmer in this movie as Batman and Bruce Wayne, which I really didn't hate him as Bruce Wayne, to tell you the truth. I can buy the fact that he's some 30-something-year-old billionaire. As for Batman, he had these really cheesy lines, you know, the car, right? Chicks dig the car. Really? Chicks dig the, really? You didn't feel like he was the Dark Knight. I mean, the line was kind of funny because his car was kind of badass, even though it was not the Batmobile. A bunch of blue neon lights shining in the dark don't really scream, hey, inconspicuous. No one knows I'm coming. And even in the intro of this movie, you see the names going by and you're like, this is completely different. The music in this movie isn't as epic, and then he gets down there and everyone, it's all cheesy, man. They're all pointing up like, Batman! There's a bunch of spotlights everywhere and you're like, this is a completely different franchise. I'm convinced of it. No, it's just a totally different direction they wanted to go. And I get it, director's gonna have his own take on it, but this is a completely different world. The entire dark and mature tone that Tim Burton built up for everyone's completely destroyed. It's no longer for adults. They're doing it for, you know, kids now. Then again, this movie has a couple of mature jokes in it, so you're like, well, maybe it's not all for kids. Maybe they think adults like this shit. All right, so let's get on to the villains in this movie. The main villain in Batman Forever is Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. They marketed the main villain as the Riddler because Jim Carrey plays the Riddler in Batman Forever, and everyone was head over heels for Jim Carrey, so they're like, just put him in all the ads. We're gonna make him look like the main villain. Which in terms of corporate douchebaggery movie promotion, that makes sense. So like, we need to get people in the seats. People will go if Jim Carrey's the Riddler. Doesn't change the fact that it was a complete bullshit bait and switch, and they lied to us all. And Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, I couldn't stand Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face for the same reason I really didn't like Jim Carrey's Riddler in this movie. Because they were both the Joker. Someone somewhere, probably Joel Schumacher, had this idea that, oh, villains have to be just crazy and out of their mind and really animated people. So Tommy Lee Jones just says, just weird. And so is Jim Carrey. He's all eccentric also. He's Jim Carrey. You knew he was going to be like that. Which for the Riddler kind of works. It's not a completely inaccurate representation. In terms of Riddler representations, there is a really crazy animated version of the Riddler, or you have the really methodical Riddler, you know? Like the one in Batman the Animated Series. I loved that Riddler. In fact, I've wanted to see a Riddler like that in the movies. I just haven't yet. But the Two-Face thing, there's no real excuse for it. There are a few directions you can go with Harvey Two-Face. Batman the Animated Series, again, represented him very well. That's what I expected going into this movie, not the Joker with half his face burned. I just felt like the villains in this movie were really cheap and they took no time to put together. They're like, yeah, just be crazy, whatever. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones in a serious villain role would be really good. He would be good for Two-Face back then. Just not the Two-Face that he apparently represented in Batman Forever. And then you have Robin in this movie, because you knew they were going to introduce Robin at some point in this franchise, and they did now. I think it's kind of funny that in Batman Forever, Commissioner Gordon's like, oh, his family died. Bruce Wayne, can you take him? Makes sense. Can you take him? What, he's not a legal adult? He has to crash with someone? No, are you saying that he's a 16-year-old? Because he's not. He's a 35-year-old man. Looks it anyway. The whole thing didn't make any sense. It was like they were like, all right, we need to find a way to put Robin in. We're gonna hand him off to Bruce Wayne because Bruce Wayne's Batman. See what I mean by no thought really being put into this movie or its characters? Oh, and Batman's love interest. You can't forget about Nicole Kidman because, you know, why would you want to? Other than every reason you want to. It's not that Nicole Kidman's a bad actress or anything like that. I'm not gonna say that about her. I'm just saying she didn't make any sense in this movie and she annoyed the shit out of me. Because she's some shrink that Bruce Wayne has a crush on. At a point he's like, I've never been in love before, Alfred. What, Batman? Did you sleep through the other two movies that you've been in? You were pretty head over heels over those chicks and you interacted with those chicks a lot more than you have this one. Nah, I don't think you're in love with her. You're just doing the 14-year-old boy thing, thinking you're in love with her when you really want to bang her. That's it. That's as deep as it goes. You're not in love with her at all. And she will probably not be in the sequel, just like the other two chicks. Yeah, she's not. And the costumes are shit in this movie. Not just, you know, the bat suit and the Robin suit. Bat nipples! But you have to joke about the bat nipples because it's just absurd, but to tell you the truth, it's not like the thing that's holding this movie back. If there were no bat nipples, it's not like I'd be like, oh, well, okay then, Batman Forever is just awesome. The fact that the Batman and Robin suits have nipples on them is like the fourth or fifth thing that's wrong with this movie. But you know, like the Riddler's outfit, he's wearing like from neck to toe tights. He's wearing like Riddler pajamas that you would find at Walmart, but not supposed to be his Riddler outfit. Come on, give the guy a suit. Make him look like an awesome Riddler, not a gymnast with a bunch of question marks around his body. I think it's kind of funny that when you watch the special features and the interviews about this movie, Joel Schumacher was talking about he had a segment where it shows Bruce Wayne's past, because Bruce Wayne does deal with his past in this movie. He's thinking about when his parents died. And I guess he's the one who wanted to go to the theater, but his parents didn't want to, but he really insisted, so they did. And so ultimately he feels like he killed his parents because he's the one who wanted to go. That is probably the most interesting thing that you could put in this movie, but they cut it for time. All right, of all the things that you could cut for time, that's the dumbest thing to cut because it kind of makes this movie interesting. The movie had Bruce Wayne dealing with the repressed memories of his parents' death. It had Robin currently dealing with the death of his parents. This movie could have been really awesome. They could have related to each other. We could have seen Robin become a hero being built from the ground up, Bruce Wayne training him, but no, we got this bizarre cartoon that doesn't make any sense. It's actually worse than the actual Batman cartoon, which was actually good. You want to say they gave it a shot and just wanted to go in a different direction that didn't work, but at least they kind of thought they were giving it a shot. In the end, I will say Batman Forever might be a good time if you're drunk. Yeah, now it's a party. Those riddles are really easy to solve though. I could solve them and I'm drunk. And that's another thing, the riddles in this movie, totally easy to solve. Bruce Wayne and Alfred sit down for about 2 minutes and crack the Riddler's entire code. Yeah, I was really on the edge of my seat for that shit. So Batman Forever, did you enjoy it? A lot of people were like, no, it was kind of cool, which I can't see it. It was the beginning of the end for me. Batman was digging his grave and my God, the next movie really closed the lid on that shit. In any case, Batman Forever, did you like it? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.